Sickos Club.
Sickos Club.
Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Hello, everybody. It's your boy, Blade Daily, and this week I am joined by my homie, my ace, the guy that hangs out with me every time we do predictions and previews. And that's because we're doing predictions and previews. I'm talking about the one and the only Antione Raphael. Antoine, hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. Hello. Glad to be back. So excited. So excited.
Well, thank you for making the time to do this a day early, even. Because that's how much we love you, the listener. That's how much we love you. We did this a day early so you would have an extra day to prepare yourself for the greatness that was about to come your way before Forbidden Door. We did it all for you, baby. Did it all for the Nookie. Did it all for AEW. Whatever. We just did it. Because that's the sit down, shut up, mark out promise that we make to you, the listener, each and every week, Antoine. We give the people what they need when they need it, unless we can't, and then we do it when we can. But, you know.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, give the people what they want when we can. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Antoine, I've, in the time that we've known each other, I've ascertained that you have a passing fancy in the happenings of One New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Just a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're what they call an NJPW firster. You love the AEW, you love, Stardom, you love a lot of things, but NJPW's the heartland, the homeland. As I understand it, they have a big tournament every year called the G1, or as I was calling it for a while, the Gun. Just then I figured out it's just actually G1, but whatever. Anyway, so the G1 is over now, but we were blessed. I felt like I was touched by Jesus Christ himself.
Yes. Because
I managed to tune in live for the finals of the G1 tournament. It was Evil from the House of Torture facing the triumphant heel babyface-ish. The New Japan crowd doesn't like him, but they do like him. Like they're trying to figure out how to feel about our boy. Tak Soup. Big Takesh. Konosuke Takeshita was in the finals with Evil. Now, Evil's been kind of doing this same gimmick for a long time. Like 5 years, 4 years, since he turned on Naito in one form or another.
Mm-hmm.
It's only this year where they've really given it any legs. Like House of Torture over the last year has finally felt like significant, like it represents a threat, right?
Mm-hmm. An actual direction.
Yeah. And I've got to admit, I've been kind of ragging on Gato a little bit because I'm like, dude, you always wait too long. You can't have him do this for 3 years, then make it matter. You got to make it matter when it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been really running with House of Torture. And I know that House of Torture has its fans, okay? I understand that. I am not one of them. It's not my favorite thing, okay? I view it as like an affront to what New Japan is about, right? Which is what they want you to think. They're booking for heat, right? They're booking, the fuck finishes and the rampant interference, blah, blah, blah.
Every night. Every
match Evil's in, any of them are in, really. Ren Narita, any of them. Sonata. By the way, I will say Sonata in House of Torture is actually incredibly amusing.
He gets my award as the best and worst dress of the G1. I had no idea what he was thinking, but I loved it and hated it all at once.
Fashion faux pas, one after another. He came out dressed as a giant disco ball one night. It was pretty amazing. I love that Sonata's in his divorced dad. I don't give a fuck anymore. This is the Sonata we need. He's like a mix of Tai Chi and Yano right now is what I kind of look at him as. But he still doesn't emote from his face at all. He's pretty funny. He's an amusing guy. So we had gotten through the playoffs, which were very good.
Very.
Very good. Evil had defeated Yoda Tsuji, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought Yoda would be the dude. I thought they were going to run with Yoda this year. And I was equally surprised that Konosuke Takeshita triumphed over Zack Sabre Jr. in what was my favorite match of the entire tournament. I have watched it 3 times. It's very, very good.
It was definitely one of mine.
That's high praise because there were a lot of really, as you would imagine, there were a lot of really good matches in the G1 this year. So that gave us a final of Konosuke Takeshita versus Evil. And I got to admit, I didn't have faith in Gedo. And I don't mean this as a really to rag on Gedo, okay? Like, he's been booking New Japan for like 15 years.
At least 15 to 20, almost.
It's a super long run for a booker. That is insane. And think about that. He's booked G1 after G1 after G1, which that alone is an insane thing to have to book. And the New Japan Cup and the World Tag Leagues and, New Japan is very tournament driven, right? So like those are immensely complicated things to book. And he's booked, so it's all due respect. He hasn't felt like he had the touch to me quite the same way the last pandemic-ish to now, kind of maybe. Anyway, I was a little worried that he was going to book for Heat and keep booking for Heat. And my take on it is, I said this to you offline, is Heat booking works, but you have to know where to cut it off. You have to know where the legs are in the Heat. Like Vince McMahon booking Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for Heat for 10 years. He forgot where the line was. Like, he just drove people away from the product. You know what I mean? NWO, same thing. Like, the Heat was great at first, and then they lost the plot because they never wanted to actually end the NWO. And it's like, you have to. For this story to have any payoff, you have to end the Heat at some point. And they just wouldn't do it, and it destroyed him in a lot of ways. And so I don't want to see that happen with House of Torture. I know people who love House of Torture, they love Evil. But to me, this felt like the right time to put a bullet through them to a certain degree, right? And it wasn't no Bullet Club putting the bullet through them.
No, not at all.
It was our boy Konosuke Takeshita defeats Evil in a fantastic final match. They gave you all the gaga bullshit right up front, and it was all over with pretty much after about 5 minutes. Then they just had a really good match after that, and Evil reminded everybody just how good he is. The crowd was way more split than I thought they would be. What were you feeling during the match?
It was a very split crowd, and I think it's because of the appreciation. No matter what, New Japan, one thing I love about them is the fans, and they did it with Konosuke Takeshita. Over here, he's a heel. He's in the Don Callis family, right? Mm-hmm. He goes over to New Japan, and he wins their hearts through the G1 and his hard work, his effort, his matches. Mm-hmm. And that's something that was lacking with Evil. There's a difference when New Japan fans start to boo in a certain way, you can tell, and they're not booing you because because you're just the heel. And to me, that was a sign that the fans were embracing Evil because they saw how talented he was. I was such a fan of his when he was in LIJ. And you think about the New World Order, and its heyday was like 3 years. So much history, and we still talk about it for 3 years worth of actual wrestling.
Right.
And the House of Torture already is beyond that. And I'm in a little bit of a agreement with you when it comes to Gedo, because I felt like for the longest time when Evil was a part of Bullet Club, okay, we know it's coming. We know it's coming. When are you going to pull the trigger? When are you going to pull the trigger? And you can't wait too long till people no longer care.
Right.
And I understand that House Torture is big. Apparently they are some of the most popular acts for kids as well too, when kids buy merchandise. So I see it. But I thought that having, with Konosuke Takeshita winning and with Evil taking some of the shenanigans a step back and Gedo making sure that people see the greatness in Evil, made them appreciate the both of them more. And to be honest, I'm sitting there going, he might actually win. What if Evil wins the G1? I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. But would it get tiresome if he kept doing the doggone shenanigans every match? And that is what it boils down to. You can't rely on heat booking every single night. And they literally wrestle every single night when they do.
Right. Right. Well, and we had talked about this with the juniors, during the Super Junior tournament. The interference was such a turnoff, and you just know if it's a show match or I can't remember who else, but there are a few people where it's like, if it's like they're going to be in this match, there's going to be just a ton of bullshit. And Kanemaru is another one. Narita, yeah. And so it did, detract from those matches. And, the thing I love about New Japan is really just, look, when New Japan is on, it's the best. Like when they are in their bag, it's the best. There's nothing better. And it just hasn't felt that way for a while to me. And I thought they were leaning into the heat stuff for the Western audience. And it turns out, like you said, it turns out, like you said, that the Western audience is really frustrated with it. And the Japanese audience is actually who they're aiming for. But I don't think either one of us could avoid seeing that there were a lot more empty seats on this tour than I'm used to seeing when New Japan runs Kirk Hall or whatever. Like, it's noticeable. They're in a rebuilding phase. They're not screwed. They're just rebuilding. And they have this young core of guys that are absolutely incredible in the juniors and in the heavyweights.
Incredible.
Uemura and Oiwa are like there. Like, they're already you just need to launch these guys. Tsuji has a very grassroots. I think he's going to go first, probably, is Tsuji. He'll probably get the title reign first. He is the oldest of them, and they've really invested in like his entrance and all that stuff in a different way than they have with the other guys.
His presentation, even his moveset, is very Western and different from his contemporaries.
Yeah, and I really like, much as my boy Shingo is definitely getting punted down the mid card, I loved that he came out with a young boy and they were like Tsuji's backup, and that even though, they might not be LIJ anymore, there is some kind of carryover in like Shingo's going to be his mentor. Because in a lot of ways, Yota Tsuji, just the way he looks and everything, kind of reminds you of Shingo a little bit. And so
absolutely does.
It's only right that Shingo would be his mentor. And I think that's a good role for him if you're not going to have him be an occasional world champion or something like that. Have him be your Ishii, who's like, Ishii can't keep going at the rate he's been going. So
someone's going to have to replace him who is that always dependable, hardcore, badass. And that's what Shingo is.
Yes. I love that that Walker always calls it the BMF style, but like, bad motherfucker. But, Shingo is a bad motherfucker. And I would book the whole promotion around Shingo if you left it up to me. So I'm really not the right one to weigh in on how Shingo's used. But I did like him coming out with Yota Tsuji and kind of ensuring that he got as fair a shot as he could get. He still didn't get a fair shot. He got screwed in the playoffs. But this young core that they have, and I include Shota in that because I think
you have to. And Ren Narita, you got to include them.
Ren Narita, when he finally breaks out of the House of Torture, he's going to be really, really great. I think they're trying to
He beat Zack Sabre Jr. on the first night.
And he's one of the only people in the whole tournament who beat Zack. Zack had an incredible tournament. He beat everybody, it felt like, but not Ren. And so that's going to be fun. That'll be a main event somewhere between now and Wrestle Kingdom. Is you'll get a Ren Narita versus Zack Sabre main event. That'll be cool. That'll be awesome. So I've seen the growth in Ren, a lot of growth in Ren, and
a lot of growth.
And I think I would like to see the House of Torture be tied more to Tanahashi's retirement than be like the focus of the main event, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense because the real antagonist they've really had this whole time outside of the Bullet Club was Evil and Tanahashi.
Yep. And I think, even when Tana called them out in his 10-point plan a year ago, he said, people have been complaining about the interference and, House of Torture. He called them out by name for that, and everybody took that as a shoot, and New Japan just doesn't like their work shoots. I mean, a lot of times it's translated too. So I think there's nuance to it that people don't necessarily get, but he's clearly working a little bit with his comments.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So if his last act as a wrestler is to end House of Torture, that's a great way for them to go out, somehow. If him and Evil have a match, Hair versus House of Torture, whatever, and Tana manages to win somehow, that'd be great. That'd be a great way. And Evil's gonna be over no matter what you do with him because he's over. He is over with that Japanese crowd. So I wanted to ask. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, once you get to that point where they start really getting backing behind you like that, when they have been booing you for so long to the point where the Bullet Club is over here getting the cheers.
I know.
There's no turning back.
Right. And I think Evil, I will say in that main event, I actually ended up feeling like Gato, it was maybe the most brilliant thing Gato's done in a really long time, because the change in my perception of Evil, who I am very down on, my perceptual change of Evil, because just like you, I was a huge fan when he was in LIJ. I thought he was a future world champion for sure, but because he was really good, not that he would lead a faction of shitbags that stole his matches for him. But he felt like a babyface at moments in that match. But what I was blown the fuck away by is the class of the Japanese audience. They had been split that whole match. And at times were louder for Evil than they were for Takeshita. They booed Takeshita pretty loudly a few times during the match. But when it was over and Takeshita won, they were dead silent for a minute. And then they all chanted Takeshita together. And it was dude, that's class. That's dope. People weren't booing him after he won. It was pretty amazing.
That's class. That's respect. To me, that's what makes the Japanese audience so different and New Japan so special, because they will let you know, not in a rude way, not in an impolite way, but you will know how good you really are by going to New Japan, Stardom, to go to Japan. You'll find out.
Yeah.
And Takeshita has found out. And for me, knowing he's an AEW guy and that his contract just so happens to expire the day after Wrestle Kingdom, something tells me that that is going to be extended very quickly.
Yes. I don't see any way you don't put the belt on Takeshita at this point, even if it's for a very short run. It's a huge feather in his cap. I just listened to a media call with Tony Khan about Forbidden Door today, and the way he talks about Takeshita, this guy, like, everybody has big plans for Takeshita right now.
Everybody.
They should, because my hot take after watching this tournament, I went back and watched all of his matches through the tournament. I think Takeshita's the best in the world right now. I really do. And that is a matter of conjecture, you know? It's a matter of perspective. It's what do you like in wrestling? This guy doesn't have even just okay matches. This guy is just fucking full bore the entire time. You know, Ospreay was that default guy for a while, but he's beaten up. You know, he's had great matches still, but he's really fucked up right now.
Yeah, I know all that stuff's catching up with him.
It's catching up with him. And I think Takeshita feels like the absolute future of pro wrestling right now. Like, regardless of promotion.
He's 29 years old. He's going into his prime. He 100% goes full throttle in every single match, no matter the opponent. And he accomplished, to me, something even more important than winning the G1 or going to AEW or being signed by 3 promotions. And that is winning the New Japan fans over and winning me over, because I consider him a New Japan guy now.
Mm-hmm. He just won the G1. I mean, he's a New Japan guy, you know? It's like...
Yes, he is.
It's an interesting thing. He's literally unprecedented in the history of pro wrestling. No one has ever been signed to 3 promotions at the same time.
Never.
It's never happened before. So this is fascinating, the directions they can go with this. If I was Tony Khan, I'd book him to win the C2. Like, and then have him feud with Okada and like turn him babyface and have him be a massive babyface. I think that's where it's going one way or the other. But I really want to see him in New Japan more. He's just an incredible wrestler, and the whole world knows it. He was clearly so emotional after the win. I loved it. I just loved it. I wanted to get some of your favorite, if you could give me like 3 of your top matches from this tournament. Not an easy thing to do.
Not an easy thing to do. And that's because there were that many that you could actually choose from that were amazing.
Yes. Well, do you want to think about it, and I'll read a few that we got from some other people who really liked it?
Yes, let's read some of the comments. Yes, please.
Okay. So Tino, or buddy Tino from the Sickos Club, said Shingo versus Tak was such a banger. Yes, it was. Tanahashi versus Evil was really fun. ZSJ versus Tak was an interesting in a good way matchup, and Umino versus Tsuji was a good time. Class War Luchador on Blue Sky said Uemura versus Oiwa was my G1 fave.
Stop right there. That is absolutely 100% correct. Thinking about the other 2, but one that's on my list is that one right there. That's when I knew 100% that these 2 are the future.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic match. It's on, if I was picking 3, it would be 2, you know. I really loved that playoff with Zach and Tak because I think their styles are so weird against each other, and it made actually the most out of Zach's style, and he's just peaking as a performer right now himself. So it's just 2 guys at the very top of their game. But, you know, Takeshita does so many strikes. And when you strike Zack Sabre, it's like you're feeding him, you know, like he's like a fucking octopus.
And you better be careful with that hand or that foot and that leg, because he will snatch that from you. That's why I love Takeshita. I love him. Best wrestler in the world. That's always a hard. He'll be in the top 5, but that's why for me right now, Zack Sabre is number 1. Takeshita 1B.
Look, There's about 4 or 5 people right now you could say are number one. I think Bandito actually is making a case for himself this year as one of the very best in the world. He's in that top 5, I think, and there's a Hangman Page, if we're being real, like his matches have been stellar all year long.
I expect to see him in the top 5 or 10 in that list at the end of the year.
He better be.
I got 2 more matches.
All right.
So Olewa versus Yoramura was nonstop awesome from beginning to end. I really loved that match and its pace.
Yep.
A hidden gem for me was Drilla Maloney versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, that was a good match.
Seeing the 2 British wrestlers and their contrasting styles, it's always amazing for me watching Zack wrestle anybody whose style is more physical than his.
Yes.
And how he counteracts every single time. And probably my third favorite match, I think it's because it shocked the shit out of me so much, is Ren defeating Zack.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Honorable mention, this is to all my Evil fans out there. Honorable mention goes to David Finlay versus Evil. It was just fun watching 2 bags of shit just beat each other up and act full.
Fair. I really loved as well. I loved Shingo and Tak. I thought that was really, really good. I mean,
Shingo was, he's just one of those guys that I'm sitting there thinking, and I could literally just go, okay, all of his matches.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he is, it doesn't matter what you do with this guy. That's why he is the kind of like the new Ishii in a lot of ways, is he doesn't have bad matches. He goes maximum effort every time.
He's the Ishii. He's the Arn Anderson. He is the locksmith. He is that switch, that army Swiss knife.
Yes, he really is. You can plug him in anywhere. He'll make it work. Okay, so over on Threads, Troubles Wrestling Pod, who hosts the fantastic From Crockett to Chaos each and every week that I highly recommend my WCW friends check out. He said, I love Shota versus Takeshita, which I did too, with an honorable mention of Oiwa versus anyone. That is a very fair weigh in on that. So that was fair. Our last G1 weigh-in. We got some Forbidden Door weigh-ins, and Antoine, we got a lot of Forbidden Door to cover. So,
love it,
brother. I'm going to hit the music, and when we come back, that's what we're talking about, people. I did listen, as I said earlier, to a Tony Khan media call earlier today, and he was asked about the participation of New Japan and Stardom particularly, and he confirmed that it was a timing thing, that the participants wouldn't be available till the week before the show, and that he felt he needed to build them up more. You know what I appreciated about his answer? I will say this. He owned it. He said, look, I just put together the card that I felt was best for the fans. He talked about, he had high praise for Yota Tsuji, actually. And he said that last year, his first pick to face Swerve was Yota. And that New Japan had said to him, you want somebody more experienced than Yota Tsuji. And that's when he went with Ospreay. But that was originally the match he wanted for Forbidden Door, was Yota Tsuji. Mm-hmm. But he basically said, yeah, that it really limited who he felt he could involve because they just weren't going to be available. He said Yota Tsuji this year was just not available at all. 0. Like he wouldn't be available to be in America for any period of time. So, and I think that would have probably been the case with all that young core that we were just talking about. Umino probably.
And even to add to that, I watched a interview with Yota Tsuji way earlier this year, where it was translated, and he talked about coming to America to wrestle and how he did feel he wasn't quite there yet to be in America.
Yeah, and I applaud that, and I like that we're getting a little more transparency from Tony. He said, I made the best call that I thought I could make for the card, and I'm not always going to be right. He said, like, if you're not happy, okay, I understand. But he did confirm that Forbidden Door will go back to its June time slot, and that he's always going to make his best effort to include Stardom and New Japan. So it didn't answer why the CMLL crew isn't there, which I would still like to know, because I would have loved to see them. I thought Joshi made a very reasonable suggestion last week about do a battle royal, do something, even if you do have a bunch of AEW versus AEW, get the other promotions involved somehow, which I think is a great idea. And we did on the show bring up your suggestion last week, which was, hey, just don't do title matches, just book the dream matches. And I think if New Japan hadn't just completed the G1, I think, were they a little further in their rebuilding phase, we would probably see more of that. They got some work to do.
They got some work to do, and I feel better about Forbidden Door than I did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I did not see that presser, but I raised my hands in jubilation, because what I knew was the problem, which is you book this when Stardom is doing the 5-star Grand Prix, and the G1 is ongoing right now. Well, not the G1, but the 5-star is still ongoing.
Right.
And we weren't going to get the pleasure of more American fans getting to be exposed to wrestling from the East, understanding that wrestling is not WWE. WWE is a wrestling company. There is a world of wrestling out there. And I'm glad that they started to put in effort over the past couple of weeks, because it was lacking, and it absolutely needs to go back to June, for heaven's sake.
I agree. I want to, it sounds like very much like All In will go back to this weekend, and Forbidden Door will go back to June. And, All In's going to keep happening in the UK. Well, it makes me a little sad that I didn't go this year, but Forbidden Door will continue to move around, and that's awesome. Because that's the show I'd really like to go see next time.
I would love to see it. Of any understanding how important All In is.
Yep.
Forbidden Door is my favorite AEW show of the year.
100%. I think a lot of people feel that way. And, I love that we have a rich wrestling auteur named Tony Khan, who loves wrestling as much as all of us do, and is willing to invest untold millions of dollars into it, has made
thanks, Tony,
super profitable. And it, throughout the year, it does give a lot of exposure to these other promotions. So yes, Forbidden Door didn't turn out quite the way I would have hoped, but we did get Dynasty. We will eventually have more of a Stardom crossover. We did get Grand Slam Mexico. So I think there's been progress made.
I would even like to see the IWGP Women's Championship defended on Forbidden Door.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Absolutely. Well, he did confirm that it will move back to its kind of the time we're more accustomed to in June. So I'm happy about it. So why don't we dive into some of these matches? We'll kind of talk about the story leading up to it, and then give our predictions. And first on the list, my friend, we got Adam Copeland and Christian versus Kip Sabian and Kill Switch.
I got things to say about this one. Go right ahead, Blade.
Well, so Christian had come out and given a promo a few weeks ago that was like the first time I ever have felt like a Christian promo was kind of stilted and didn't really land when they were in Chicago, when they were doing that residency there. It was a really long promo. It felt like he had a lot of needles to thread, and he got a little lost in the promo, which just doesn't happen with him very often. But I really liked the promo that they cut last night on Dynamite. I thought that was much better. I thought Christian saying, I did think about what you said, and I went and I did a lot of thinking, and I realized that I'm perfect just the way I am.
Just the way I am. And that is called self-confidence. I love it.
I love the dickhead remaining, and that they're going to do the odd couple thing. People who listen to this podcast know I've been lobbying for that the whole time, is like make them more of their, like when they did their podcast, ENC, I can't even remember the Totally Reeks of Awesomeness or whatever, that they were honest. That's more their dynamic as friends. Like Copeland's nickname for Christian is the Dick, and that he's kind of an asshole. And I love that they're actually getting to play that out. I also loved that he called Christian an asshole, but he said he's my asshole, and then he's like, wait, that doesn't...
Exactly, because it felt so much relatable, because I don't care who you are, and you can keep the names to yourselves, everyone, but there's one in your head you're all listening to it. Everybody has that one friend who is an asshole.
Yes. And like not to do certain things with them maybe or whatever, but like they're also your buddy, and yes. you're loyal to the end, So like we all have an asshole friend, and Christian is so clearly Copeland's asshole friend. I love that he told the crowd to shut up, as they wanted to cheer him so bad. And he still told him to shut up while he conducts his business.
And Copeland's like, such perfect timing.
Yeah.
So it was, Christian just had a bad week. If I may, like what got me was the week before. I believe and think that more men need to show their emotions. It doesn't make you strong to hide them or just push them down. And unlike other companies, to see the direction where it looked like they were just going to argue, didn't know where to start, just stopped it completely and just gave him a hug.
Yep.
Just a hug.
Yep.
Because sometimes in life, you just got to tell people that you love them no matter what, even if they are an asshole.
When AEW makes the supercut that they do, like the history of Cope and Christian thing that they always do that on YouTube, you're going to see how many little callbacks there are in every segment, how much it refers back, like when Copeland spun him around, because Christian was like, go ahead, hit me with Spike. I deserve it. And Copeland's just spun him around and hugged him. That's like a callback to when they hugged the first time and Christian said, go fuck yourself.
And
the go find yourself, all that stuff. This has been really, really well done by these guys.
Well done. And
they clearly have a lot to do with it. And I had mentioned this last week, but Mr. Warren Hayes, great YouTuber on YouTube who talks about wrestling, had said, look, if they did this in WWE, they would just use this as like counter programming to an AEW show. They wouldn't make it feel special. There wouldn't be like a special story told around it.
No.
They just wouldn't do that. Look how they treated Bill Goldberg. Look how they're treating John Cena's last match. It's counter programming for an AEW show now. It's John Cena. Like what are your all-time biggest stars? Like that's
and
insane.
You're putting them up against your counter programming with one of your biggest stars is kind of disrespectful to him.
I mean, to say the least. So I'm looking forward to this. Nick Wayne did announce that he broke his foot in the segment last week. I really liked how they brought Kill Switch for the time being back. Did the person injecting Kill Switch with the needle thing that woke him up? They were wearing a leather jacket that looked awfully familiar, weren't they?
It kind of did.
Goatish jacket.
Yeah.
I think Jack Perry might end up kind of leading this whole crew of Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian and Kill Switch.
Because it's it's kind of a motley crew, just a little bit.
Yep.
Kip is not the leader type.
No. Nick's very young.
Nick is way young, and kudos and credit goes to Christian, who the reason why it took so long to get here is because Christian was not ready to end the story with the patriarchy. He wanted to finish that out and set Nick Wayne up for a good future. And that goes credit to him. And with Nick Wayne hurt, I would love to see Jack Perry. He seems like he would have the perfect type of personality to sort of lead that group of individuals. And Kill Switch coming back, I do admit, caught me by surprise.
Same. No, I was really caught by surprise. Also, I thought it was interesting he was in the Luchasaurus colors. You know, he was wearing green again instead of black. So I think this is very interesting to me. And I'm very, and you know, it's funny because him turning on Christian is like, should be like cheered as like a heroic moment because Christian treated him like shit. And now Christian's the baby face. It's just like, man, this wild world of wrestling, man.
Gotta love it.
But I think Jack Perry is, I mean, I've been wondering where the hell he is, really.
Yeah.
Last year, right before Luchasaurus, who, by the way, was out with an incredibly serious illness that threatened his mortality, much less his ability to wrestle. It was very much not known if he would ever wrestle again. Before all of that happened, there was a scene, and I can't remember even how it occurred anymore, where the ship's passing in the night. Jack Perry walks past Christian and Killswitch, and they have a very awkward kind of standoff for just a second. And then it passes. From then to now, it's been about a year. It would not surprise me at all if Tony Khan was like, we have to fit it. We are doing this. That's what we're doing. Yes, Jack, I will pay you to sit at home and fucking make shit with your hands until Killswitch can come back. But I'm very excited to see where this match goes. I think it's very obvious that Copeland and Christian are going to win.
I think it's very obvious. This is a no-brainer. I'm more interested in everything that happens, and I usually am not, but I am interested in everything that is going to surround this match. Will Jack Perry be there? What will happen? Who will potentially get involved? Who knows?
Absolutely. I feel like Christian and Cope are being set up for FTR, but they may have a longer diversion. You know, maybe they're not done telling this story with Nick Wayne and Jack Perry, and they're going to make all of Christian's disciples band together. That could be very interesting. So we'll see. But I do think for this match, we'll probably see Copeland and Christian come out on top. It makes sense to me that they would have FTR versus Cope and Christian at All Out, which is in Canada, in Toronto, in their hometown. Come on. It just writes itself. But we'll see. Next up on the list, this is a match that may not jump out at as many people as it jumps out to me, but I think it could be a sleeper best match of the show even.
It absolutely could be a banger.
You have Coyle Fletcher, the Protostar, defending the TNT Championship versus what I felt is a very inspired bit of booking, Hiromu Takahashi. Holy crap. This is going to be fun. Hiromu is an act that I feel could be very over in America, were he to spend some time out here and really get, like, allow that his natural charisma to just get himself over. He could get himself way over in America.
He really could. He's very colorful. He's very peculiar. Very different.
To say the fucking least. I mean, it would be like if Jeff Hardy was really into like Jackson Pollock instead of whatever weird alternative metal artist like he's into. Like Hiromu's a psychopath in the best way, and I love it. I remember very distinctly seeing some of his interviews out of character with Naito, who is also out of character, and you realize that actually the leader outside of that outside of kayfabe is Hiromu, and that Naito's just a big dork who just kind of laughs at everything. And Hiromu's
Yeah.
an unhinged psychopath.
Yep.
But him versus Fletcher is going to be a lot of fun. This is a really cool matchup. I don't know if they've ever fought before. I know Fletcher's obviously has a history in New Japan, but it was in a tag team, so I'm not sure if they've ever actually faced off in a single situation before. But I'm very excited to see where they go from here. I think it's going to be a great match. Could steal the show. Everything Kyle Fletcher does at this moment has the potential to steal the show. This guy is just unbelievable. 25 years old, I believe. 26 at the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
How is that even fucking possible, Antoine? This kid's going to be the greatest in the world at some point.
He was 19 or 20 while he was in New Japan as a part of the United Empire when Will Ospreay found him. And when I found out then, I'm like, this guy is far and away going to be a star. And he is there. And I completely agree. This can absolutely steal it. For me, I did a big old grin because I saw that it was Hiromu and I got this and I missed my buddy. And he's one of the best cruiserweights or lighter individuals that there is. And the pace that he'll be able to keep up with and surpass Kyle Fletcher with is going to make this to me, it's going to be breakneck from start to finish.
These guys are going to be moving fast. And, Kyle just had an incredible fucking match with Ishii like 10 days ago as we tape this.
Mm-hmm.
Everything this guy touches right now, he's had incredible matches with so many people, really. He had an incredible couple matches with Okada. He had in the C2 last year.
Yes, those were so good.
Incredible matches with Mark Briscoe. This guy... incredible matches, obviously, with Will Ospreay, too. So, I mean, this guy, man, I want Takeshita to turn babyface so those two can feud, holy shit. So, yeah, I think Kyle will take this one. It's way early into his title reign, but goddamn,
yes,
if I couldn't see my buddy Hiromu having a brief TNT title run would be so much fun. So, hopefully we get that at some point. But, that's why I like your idea of taking the titles out of it, or maybe even having like a Forbidden Door title of some type. Having a New Japan guy fight an AEW guy for an AEW title feels like it gives away the result before you've even really gotten started.
I feel the same way. And then you got to figure out the logistics of when can they defend it? When can they be here? How long? Et cetera, et cetera. So like, as excited as I am for this match, I already know the winner.
Yeah.
It's going to be Kyle Fletcher.
It likely would have been Kyle no matter what, even if he wasn't a champion, because he's been pushed so hard. But yeah, I just think when you have and so because AEW pay-per-views are so stacked with title matches now, because there's quite a few titles to defend, where are you going to slot people in? And I think they need to figure that out before next Forbidden Door, for sure. For sure.
I think they do. And I do stand by, put the titles aside.
Yeah.
Special singles matches, special challenge matches. Mm-hmm. And people come in with their titles. They leave with their titles. It's just mono. It's lady against lady. It's woman against woman. It's man against man. It's whoever against whoever. And that's all that it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It sure feels a lot better to have somebody like Hiromu on this card, though, I will say. Like, he's just such a fucking legend.
It gave it spice.
It did. I know, like, for instance, this next match, Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland. Okada used to be one of the big names they'd bring over for Forbidden Door. And now he's in AEW, but there's a reason he's in one of the premier matches of the night. One, he's Kazuchika Okada, but... a name famously associated with New Japan. Not even the most surprising name to be on this card, by the way. We will get to that. But I am really digging the potential for this match. It has been pushed as one of the biggest matches on the show, actually. Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland. Okada is quietly amassing one hell of a run where he has not lost a match in a very long time. Fresh off winning the unified title, I can't imagine they're ready to take it off him yet.
No.
And Swerve is the kind of over at this point where he can lose and not lose anything. Like he's over. Him, Hangman, and Ospreay, they're all kind of over like that. Where if they lose, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to like change the crowd's perception of them. At least they could lose one big match here or there. You don't want them losing too much, but at the same time, I do think Okada's going to take this one.
I agree. Okada's going to take this one. I wonder sometimes if Tony kind of thinks that booking Kazuchika Okada on Forbidden Door still is considered a New Japan. I think he does. And I think he does it. I hope he does it for the people who can come from Japan all the way to London and try to see Okada again.
No, when they announced this match first, it was the very first match that got announced. I was like, the reason for that is because like Okada versus Danielson was the first match announced at one of the other Forbidden Doors. And where Brian broke his fucking arm in the match. But, like it was definitely because of that. It's like, hey, this is still one of the biggest, maybe the biggest star outside of Inoki in the history of New Japan. So I think that's definitely intended.
Absolutely. And I'm a massive Swerve fan, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the pairing of these two together because I feel like Swerve is at that level. He is, quote unquote, bulletproof when it comes to getting a D push or taking an L. And I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing right now for him to take is a loss in an excellent match to Kazuchika Okada.
Right. No, I think this is going to be a fantastic fucking match. I mean, these guys are going to bring it. I don't know if you saw, but the word is out that Swerve has had a torn meniscus that he's been wrestling with since 2019.
2019. Yep.
Holy shit, that is a long time. So he may end up having to have surgery fairly soon. It sure sounded like Will Ospreay is going to have he's going to miss some time, Meniscus will not keep you out as long as the kind of surgery it sounds like Will might need. But they might both miss some time. So we'll see. But I think Okada has to take this one. It's just way too soon for him to lose the belt. And I think he has unfinished business with Omega as well. I think they will get back to that at some point. I think we get one more match between those two to decide the series or whatever. Let's see. So coming after that, you get this kind of garbage malarkey match, just Hurt Syndicate versus Brodito versus FTR in a triple threat tag title match, which I feel is definitely a cover for Hurt Syndicate to lose these titles without taking a pin. Sure seems that way to me. I think FTR is going to come out on top in this one because I think they want Copeland and Christian versus FTR in Canada. That's my thought.
When you look at the last few pay-per-views and the tag title matches, you had the Sons of Texas and, oh gosh, I can't even remember before that, but
Outrunners.
The Outrunners. Nothing wrong with those tag teams. Those are good tag teams.
Yeah.
But this feels like a real tag team title match that can main event. That to me, the Hurt Syndicate are kind of worthy of.
Yep.
But I was thinking about this the other night, and I'm kind of leaning towards it being FTR too, because of Copeland and Christian. It just makes sense. It just puts the bow on the story. The greatest tag team of all time versus the greatest tag team of any time. So it's got to be FTR here, probably over Brodito. The only thing I'm hoping for is that, if I can hope, is the Hurt Syndicate just doesn't take the pin.
Well, I don't think they will. And there's been, some speculation about their willingness to do jobs and stuff, but I'm like, Shelton Benjamin has taken a number of pins since he's been there.
It was in the C2.
He lost a bunch in the C2, and he was pretty brand new at the time. I mean, he lost to Swerve in their first match, and he had only been there like a week, Right. So, like, I don't think that's the issue. I think Tony wants to keep Bobby Lashley super strong because I think MJF might get involved in this match, and he might try to cost the Hurt Syndicate the tag titles. So we'll see. That's definitely a factor. I think FTR and MJF may end up connected again, continuing the Pinnacle. I know Wardlow is coming back in the nearest future.
I've heard those rumors.
So there's a lot of things that could happen here. So whether it's Shelton Benjamin taking a pin, I don't think Bobby Lashley's taking a pin no matter what. But whether it's Shelton or whether it's somebody in Brodito, I do think FTR will win this match. They're being heated up big time.
And if you really think about it, they're kind of riding a high of popularity by proxy because the one that is popular is their manager. Right. And he's the greatest. And he's doing so much for them, FTR. Whether it's Heat, whether it's Cheers when he's wrestling Adam, when he's wrestling Coke. And so to me, it just makes the perfect sense right now.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously Dax and Cash are extremely talented guys, but I think Stoke has just given them a new coat of paint, and they have like adapted their behavior as heels to like work with Stoke, and it's just gotten better and better and better.
And I actually questioned. I was like, this is not going to work.
It was I
got to see how this is going. It was just weird. And
it was a weird pairing.
And I'm the type of person that absolutely believes weird is good, positive, me. But I should have known that was going to be an excellent pairing just because we knew it was weird. Yeah.
I mean, Stokely kind of makes anything work, and he just has been able to show his talent like in a whole different way. I think Stokely, when he was with Jade, I really liked that. When he was with Chris, I saw a ton of potential in that. But this is actually my favorite version of Stokely is with FTR. I'm really enjoying it. It reminds me a lot of Bobby Heenan. It's got a Bobby Heenan vibe to it to me. And Stokely reminds me of Bobby Heenan too, because he's very funny, but in a way that like he's not telling you when to laugh with his mannerisms like Bobby. He's like deadpan. And like you either get it or you don't. But if you get it, Stokely's your dude,
If you get it, you get it.
Yeah. So I think we'll have new tag champs. I think FTR is going to come out of this one. I think Hurt Syndicate will most likely end up with somebody with a new direction after this. They're dominant heels. It's very hard to book dominant heels for too long. And I think, both of them can contribute in other ways. They don't need to be a tag team. They're excellent singles wrestlers. So we'll see where it goes from there. But I think we might be building towards Bobby Lashley versus MJF sooner than not. So we'll see. Next match I have on the docket here is a match I'm really interested in because one of these performers I've never seen. Mercedes Moné defends the TBS title versus Persephone. I have seen her. Yes. Versus Alex Windsor, who's blown my mind since she's been full-time AEW, and I've gotten to see her on a week-by-week basis. Has really stepped up to the plate. And then Bozilla, who I've never seen before, but everybody in our Discord was really excited about.
Oh, well, let me fill you in. She is German, 21. And think of Megan Bayne and Jade and think almost bigger. She is in the 5-star Grand Prix as we speak. Until the pay-per-view, of course. And she is dominant She is very dominant. I think that a lot of the AEW sickos out there who love the Queen, who love Chris, who love Megan, you're going to like Bozilla.
I think so. I mean, just seeing her, I get like Bull Nakano kind of dump Matsumoto kind of vibes, almost like where
very Bull
just
Nakano-ish.
that, big, bulkier, like I'm just going to kick the shit out of you kind of vibe. I love that. So I'm excited to see that. Mercedes also does well with people who are like much bigger than her. So she always can pull something like really incredible out of those situations.
Oh yeah, she always wrestles twice her size.
Exactly. And so I think that'll make for something interesting. Super excited for Alex Windsor to be able to do this in front of a pretty much sold out house now, almost 17,000 people. That's going to be amazing. And we will see where it goes. But I think Mercedes is walking out of this with that title. This doesn't feel like the time for her to lose it. And if she did, Windsor isn't a terrible choice. I think that would be kind of a fun route to go, to send her after what I hope will be a new women's world champion. We'll see, though. We'll see.
We shall see. I am always have been kind of impressed with Miss Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
She is sort of an X factor. I thought it was actually, I was like, whoa, this is pretty quick. You just got here and you're already in the the TBS title picture, but it makes sense just because we're in London. We'll put her in that match. And Persephone is someone who I've enjoyed all the matches that I've seen her in. She's real physical as well. To be honest, I mean, Mercedes is the smallest person in this match, but I believe she's going to be the one that makes it go.
Yes.
Like she always does. And if they didn't take the title off of her when Mina wrestled her again, then they have plans to keep it on her. And I don't think it's talent.
Yeah, I think the most likely outcome is that she holds on to it. Persephone is one of those people that they should probably do a double contract with, because if they don't, I think WWE is going to go after her hard for AAA.
Mm-hmm.
She just looks like the type of person they would sign. She's buff as hell. She's got a very interesting build. And I think that she's very marketable. And I think Tony would be wise to invest in her and keep her in CMLL.
She would play over very well in not only AEW, but Ring of Honor, where 100%. A lot of the CMLL wrestlers are golfers.
Right. No, I would say Mystico, Hechicero, Mascara Dorada, and Persephone are like the ones that really jump out to me as like, have a deal with each of those people, because Mystico's just a ticket seller like crazy. You put him on a card, tickets anywhere on the southern border, anywhere, like tickets just fly. And if Persephone's, she's one of those. La Catalina is another one. Like, sign her.
Yes. And La Catalina is so young. These women are so good, and they are so young. They got plenty of room to grow.
Right. La Catalina's 21, I believe. I think she's pretty young, and she was on main roster WWE when she was like 19 years old. Like,
yes,
crazy. So they've already had a crack at her and blew it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they made another play for her. So Tony, I just hope Tony is thinking about these things. But I think Persephone, you got to lock her up sooner than later, because if you're not having those talks, she's going to get over in this match big time, I think. She's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to Bozilla. I absolutely take your word for it that she's incredible. It sounds like it's going to be a really, really good time. Next up, we have, Hangman Page is going to defend the AEW Men's World title against MJF in a very weird match. So last week, Page had goaded MJF into using his contract stipulation to get this match. He said, I'm not just going to give you the match. Like, no matter what you do, I'm not giving you the match.
Which I liked that direction.
I liked that direction because it made Hangman look like a smart babyface. Babyfaces are so often stupid. And then this week, MJF did get the upper hand and was about to literally murder Mark Briscoe with the help of Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. Anything goes in AEW. Crimes. They were pouring gasoline on Mark and ready to light him on fire unless Hangman agreed to the title can change hands on a count out. The title can change hands on a disqualification, and he doesn't have to use his contract to get this match. And Hangman agreed to it. Logically, doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, and that is where part of my brain just can't accept it because there's no absolute way they were going to set this man on fire. So they needed some way to save that specific contract for later for some reason.
I think there's going to be a rematch, and I think that's what the contract will be for.
Me too.
I think they're trying to insert some doubt about the outcome of the match, because on paper, after last week specifically, it really felt like Hangman's definitely winning. It just felt pretty obvious to me, like Hangman's going to win. And now, because it can change hands on a disqualification or a count out, they're trying to make you think look, it wouldn't be a clean win, but there's many ways in which Hangman can lose this title now. I know Tony Khan is not letting this title change hands on a DQ or a count out on a pay-per-view. That's just not happening. But so I think there's two possibilities here. MJF loses, then he uses his contract and FTR interfere and help him win, right? Or he uses it for All Out, I think is the other possibility.
And that's kind of where I'm leaning there's going to be a rematch at All Out.
Which, okay, fine. It's MJF versus Hanger. They're going to have a great match no matter what they do. I saw somebody say that MJF costs Hurt Syndicate the tag titles, and it becomes a triple threat at All Out. Lashley versus MJF versus Hangman. I think Mark Briscoe and Mystico, to me, it feels like they still have a part to play.
Yes. There's still too many stories involving MJF that need to be resolved.
And Briscoe can't just he has to cost MJF the contract. I think that is the biggest thing he could do to screw Max is really screw him on the world title. So if he costs him the contract, I think that's the ultimate revenge. You know what I mean? For what Max has done to him. And so MJF's gotten the better of him in the upfront this whole time. But I think the plan is for MJF to put Mark over conclusively at some point coming up soon. But I think Hangman's going to make it through this whole series as the champ. I think he will.
I think he will too. And that's why, even though it's a bit of inspired booking, that's too many things for MJF to be involved in that get stretched too thin, too many segments with the same exact person. And if you're doing too much, you can't focus on what you have. And I think that with the intensity of the rivalry with MJF and Mark Briscoe, and the fact that, let's be real, Mark Briscoe has been that guy that no matter what we'd love to see, but he always takes the fall. It's time for Mark Briscoe to get the upper hand on someone else.
It's time. And I think what they've been trying to do with this entire thing is evolve his character to where he's not just the silly guy who makes chicken noises and does the kung fu stuff and then loses, right? It's that he's a world title level guy almost or at least very upper mid card, and I think that's where we're going to get to. I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably Wrestle Dream or Full Gear when you see Max and Mark finally tie up. But I think Mark's going to get a big win over Max. I think that is the ultimate plan. It'll be interesting, but I think Mark's going to have to do something that infuriates MJF to such a degree that he is going to have to go after him. And using the world title as a way to do that makes sense to me. I just think it depends on how they get there. Obviously, it depends on the execution. And I'm not sold on the Lashley triple threat thing yet. I think it's going to be Briscoe, though, keeping MJF from winning the world title because he hates him so much. And they've also been showing this closeness between Hangman and Briscoe, too. So I think that ties him in somehow.
And I'm sorry, it's also, you're still the CMLL champion, so he's got to defend that title as well.
Yes, and he's going to lose to Mystico when they face each other in CMLL in September. So they do have a match booked in CMLL. So it'll be interesting. But I think Briscoe will be a factor in this match for sure. I am really looking forward to this. If you're British, you're probably pretty stoked because either the number 1 or 2 wrestler in the world, depending on if you're me or Antoine, is defending the IWGP world title. Zack Sabre Jr. in his home country is defending it against fucking legend Nigel McGuinness. This is going to be a really, really fun match. And I'm just stoked for both guys that it's happening. I don't think there's any way in hell Nigel's going to win.
No.
But goddamn, Zack Sabre Jr. came of age watching Nigel McGuinness. He had to have. This has got to be a dream for both of them.
You're talking about the gold standard of probably all time versus the standard now. Mm-hmm. There's no way he didn't grow up watching Nigel. And this match has me giddy because this is going to be just an old school, awesome, technical wrestling match for the real wrestling purists, not even purists, but real wrestling fans, hardcore fans. And I even noticed on the sheet that it was actually listed ahead of the AEW Men's World Title match. So that just kind of made me smile just a little bit more too. So, I hope that placement really does happen, but I'm thoroughly excited. I think this is going to be it's going to be something that is going to be off the charts. And I think that they can make it memorable, way memorable than Nigel's last match. And even though Daniel Garcia is going to be there, I don't think he has any involvement with this.
I think he'll turn on Nigel after the match is what I expect. I do think Daniel's got to turn heel. He's just kind of milk with toast right now. He's just
he's like flavorless bubble gum.
Yeah, he just feels stuck right now. And I really like Danny, and I want him to take that step up to the next level. I don't think he can do it as a babyface. Certainly not as you're I'm just a cool kid from Buffalo. Doesn't work. It's just not working.
Who does a dance every time he comes out? So how can people take you too seriously?
Be the heel and do the dance and start winning. People will take you. People will start cheering. I mean, he'll end up a babyface anyway, but the way that he's worked as a babyface, and I think they really screwed him with the TNT title as well. That run, it wasn't his fault. It just was booked badly.
It really was.
It hollowed out that babyface run, honestly. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see him turn on Nigel and get some nuclear fucking heat, because if you do it in the UK, there you go. Can you imagine a revived Pinnacle, perhaps with MJF, FTR, Wardlow, and Danny Garcia, where Sean Spears used to be?
You just love your fantasy booking. See,
I do. I was just trying to figure out where it would work. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because MJF and Danny have the history too, and so it would be interesting. last singles match of the night we have is Timeless Toni Storm defending the AEW World Title versus Athena. I think we're both on the same page on this one. I just want to see Athena take it. I think Athena's ready. It's time.
And if I may, I'm going to go into a little bit of a deeper dive, let's say, into this match. I love Toni Storm. I really do. I've loved her ever since NXT UK. I just thought she was the baddest, most talented person that they had there, and they did her wrong at WWE.
100%.
100%. And her run, her character has become so natural. I was worried at one point that it would become a caricature of itself and she would just become a mockery, and she's not. And she's that damn good of a wrestler. Her wrestling quality has never faltered. It's never in question. However, she is 4-time champion. Athena has been toiling away in Ring of Honor, putting on banger after banger at every single pay-per-view at the very least. She's put that company on her shoulders, and it is now time to take her to the next level.
Yep.
If you weren't going to do it with Mercedes yet, then you need to do it with Athena. I don't think they have any other decision to make than to put it on Athena.
I agree. I think that the time has come where Toni doesn't, I mean, for one, she just doesn't need the belt. It's not really enhancing her anymore.
No, it's really not.
She's kind of bigger than the belt, to be honest. That's where you hope you can get people to, is like where they're like kind of bigger than the belt. I don't think Kenny Omega will ever hold the AEW World Title again. He doesn't need to. Jon Moxley never needs to be the men's champion again. He's bigger than that belt at this point.
Yep.
He's made. Toni Storm is made. Have her in Windsor go into the tag division, or her in Mina, or whatever. Toni can still be all over the show. But you need to make some more of those top tier women stars. And Athena is ready on the mic. She's one of the best wrestlers, male or female, in the world currently. Period. Like, there is no way in which Athena is not ready. And she's already got, I like that they're still kind of entangling Mercedes with Toni a little bit, and they're still entangling Mercedes with Athena a little bit. There's so many stories to tell from here. But I think really, Toni needed the win over Mercedes more than Mercedes needed the title.
Exactly.
And now Toni's gotten that win. She's proven everything she has to prove. Athena, in kayfabe, not in reality here, but Athena needs that title more than Toni needs to beat Athena.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, and then you put the women's division is refreshed with the new champion, who is a fantastic talker, and you got so many directions you can go with Toni. I don't think there's anywhere left to go if you have Toni win. What else is there for her to do?
Turn her heel? No,
the fans will not boo her.
It's too late for that.
The fans will never boo Toni Storm again. It'll never happen. You'd have to just fuck her up as a character and ruin her to get them to boo. And no one wants that, But Toni's she's bigger than the belt.
To me, this is the perfect time to refresh that division, just as you said. I mean, you think about it. Not only is she great on the mic, not only is she fantastic in the ring, but she also brings a dynamic with the fact that she always has Billy Starks with her. And I always love their little dynamic, particularly when they are on the same page. So you could do any type of match with any type of opponent. It doesn't have to be aligned. It doesn't have to be anything. Just be a straight up match, because Athena thinks she's better than everybody.
Well, and they've done that so well with her since she's come up and been on the show more, regularly. Is like, look, she is prime time ready. She's not ready to be on Dynamite. She was ready for that 2 years ago. She's ready to be the lady of that division, like that everything revolves around. She is absolutely ready for that. And I think, there's a ton of story to be told with like her being the AEW Women's World Champion and the ROH Women's World Champion at the same time. Then you have this thing with the belt collector thing with Mercedes. Like, look, Mercedes, you can win every title except this one. But Mercedes has beaten Athena once on TV. And I mean, there's so many directions to go from there. I just think, Tony, it's not, I've had a few people say, like, it sounds like you're kind of sick of Tony. It's like, no, not at all. I love Tony. She's maybe my all-time favorite gimmick ever is Timeless Tony Storm at this point. Like,
it's just that there are other things that Tony can do. Tony can be a part of. And I think it's a great time to broaden out her character without having the belt on her. The tag division. Oh my gosh. Her and Alex Windsor have just been adorably funny together. And so that to me works perfectly.
Yep. Yeah, you have Thunder Tits you can get back off the ground when Thunder Rosa comes back. You have Mina. You have, just all kinds of things you could do with Tony. And her run is far from maxed out. It's just, I think she has done such great work as champion. She's gotten that belt to a whole nother plateau of significance. And it's time to hand the ball to somebody else who can take it and run, because like I said, I just don't think there's anywhere else to go with Tony as your champion. I just don't think so. There's no one else for her to beat.
We have to normalize or realize more in the wrestling community as wrestling fans that not having the title does not always mean that it's a negative, that it is a down. We want more than one person to succeed in this. And she has done probably the most admirable thing, which is make that damn title so important and so big and awesome. And that's why I think I hope even from the rundown sheet, it's the last match on the card. I really hope that it is the main event. It has to be Athena. It's time for Tony to find some other things to do.
Yeah, well, and there's more work to build the division, period. You have all kinds of people that you could put Tony in stories with to bring their character up to her level,
exactly.
Which is what you should be using characters on the level of like a Mercedes Moné and Tony to do. Is bring people up to their level, and you can't just do it with matches. You have to do it with stories. So I think there's so much more for Tony to do, and I can't wait to see what they do with her next. But this is the time. This is the time. That's truly how it feels. Last match, it's a lights out cage match. Will Ospreay said he didn't even get cleared for Forbidden Door. I can't imagine Tony Khan would allow him to wrestle if he wasn't actually cleared. So I'm not sure how much of this is kayfabe or whatever, but he certainly seemed to imply in his promo on Dynamite that he would need surgery soon, one way or the other. And so, we are intimately familiar with these people needing to have pretty intense surgeries, and neck surgery puts you out of action for quite a while. And so, I can't possibly call what I think is going to happen here because there's too many X factors. But what I will say is I was very happy to see the War Dogs get involved on Dynamite this past week, just to see them make their presence known. Happy to see Clark Connors, happy to see Drilla, happy to see the crew again. And I think that, that kind of presents a bit of an X factor where, the War Dogs and the Death Riders can be linked a little more tightly, maybe going on from here, or just as an X factor in this lights out match, because there's no rules. So, nobody's like trying to get out of the cage. Are the War Dogs going to get in the cage? I don't think the show ends without Ospreay winning. That just seems like kind of duh.
Biggest downer ever.
I could see them going for the Ospreay gets the win and then gets destroyed after the match. And that's where they write him off for neck surgery. I could see that.
Can definitely see that. And Will is someone that I'm really worried about because he's been talking about needing surgery for before he even left New Japan when he was given his goodbyes and letting them know he was leaving. So I think it's on this a little bit more on the side of truth. And I wouldn't be surprised if Will had to possibly talk Tony into actually having this match. But if you listen to podcasts, please do us all a favor. Take some time off. Take this long ass whipping. Win this match. And then go disappear for a few months and have fun with your family and go heal. That's the best thing for a long-term career and future. But I am picking Will Ospreay to win this match.
Yes, and let Darby do the crazy shit in this match because
yes,
you have Darby. Darby's on your team. And you have Kota Ibushi as a backup. And even if Kota's going to break his own neck, he'll do it. You already got a broken neck. So
he's done it.
He's done it many times. Yeah, fuck. I mean, we're not even mentioning Kenny Omega. You got a team of psychos. They're all pretty much willing to do crazy shit. So yes. Let it happen, Will. Let it happen. It's okay. All right. So we did get some listener feedback on what people are excited for about Forbidden Door. I think there's a lot to be excited about. Professor Degree, the guy who is the new permanent co-host of The Hard Way, who will remind you of that, said in no particular order, he is stoked for Tony versus Athena, Swerve versus Okada in that lights out cage match. Didn't watch enough of G1 to even comment on it, but if you should read this, you should totally take the opportunity to plug The Hard Way podcast and their brand new co-host, me. I respect the grind. And he said, I'm nothing if not shameless. And yeah, it would be easier to just say nothing at all, but I've never done things the easy way. I've always taken the hard way. Very, very clever. Coincidentally, that's the name of the podcast I'm co-hosting with you and Brett Michelle. The latest episode just dropped. Wow. Honestly, I do respect it. Tino said for Forbidden Door, Athena versus Tony is my main event. I really hope Athena wins. Hiromu versus Kyle will be a banger, and that lights out cage match is going to be wild. Gotta agree. Pippin, the one I fear the most from defeating me at Pro Wrestling Jeopardy, said the lights out cage match is going to be completely nuts. I think though the match I'm most excited about is Tony Storm versus Athena in the 4-way for the TBS Championship. Those are great picks. It's going to be incredible. In it bad, my buddy 80 says incredibly excited about being part of the crowd at the O2 Arena on Sunday night, especially as Forbidden Door is very close to selling out and the atmosphere will be incredible. I agree. If it's anything like it was for Dynamite, it's going to be massive crowd reaction. Seeing matches I never thought I'd get to see in person will be awesome too, like McGinnis versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Cope Christian versus Sabian and Luchasaurus. The 10-man lights out steel cage match is going to be bonkers. My brother-in-law, who is back into wrestling, is attending his first wrestling show. Had to be AEW. That's fucking awesome. That is fucking awesome. Kurt Jangle said that Ospreay entrance pop is going to go crazy, but you already know I'm a sucker for getting elevated. The cage match itself is going to be strictly for the sickos. So as far as the standard matches, I think the Women's World Championship might steal the show. I wouldn't put it past Swerve to do something to show Okada why he's the most dangerous man in AEW. Neither would I, Kurt Jangle. Great stuff. Misha Sumra from Thread said, I'm fucking hyped for Forbidden Door. I'm going to be there. The chance alone will be absolutely terrace tier, albeit with fewer allegations of CSA. I'm not sure what that means, but I take you at your word. My only complaint is that there's no jet speed match announced yet. I want my speedball, damn it. Fair enough. Jet speed are so good. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for weighing in on your thoughts. I'm just going to make sure I got to all of them. I did on Blue Sky. Did I on Threads? We will see. I did. Okay. Well, Antoine, I have to thank you, my friend, for joining us.
Thank you, my friend.
This has been awesome talking about New Japan, talking about the doors that were slightly less than forbidden, that are feeling a little more forbidden now. And hopefully we'll be full on forbidden next year. But that's our takes. We want to know what you think is going to happen. Leave us a comment. If you're listening on YouTube, leave us a like on the video. It helps us get discovered in the algorithm. Leave us a comment and I will respond to you. But until next time, I'm Blade Daily.
I am Antoine Raphael.
Pro wrestling forever.
Sickos Club.